welcome to All Things Health and Abundance podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss different health-related issues and come with real tips and advice. Today we're going to talk about Feng Shui. What is Feng Shui and how does it work? What are the main principles of Feng Shui? How can we put it into practice in an easy way? And how can the practice of Feng Shui help us heal our life? This and much more is what we'll be discussing today. And today with me is Anna Pavlakis. Anna is a Master Shamanic Healer, spiritual coach, and Feng Shui consultant. For 20 years, Anna has been working with clients all over the world to help them bring balance, harmony, healing, and abundance into their lives. Her mission is to guide others so that they may align with their soul path and fulfill their divine potential. Through her unique channeled modality, integrated soul healing, she releases and clears the programs and beliefs carried in their subconscious minds and cellular memories so that they may be fully in their personal power. Having studied with master teachers of Feng Shui, Reiki, Buddhism, Ascension, planetary healing, and shamanism, Anna has presented numerous workshops, channeled shamanic journeys, intuitive readings, and healings in New York City, New Jersey, Barcelona, Seville, Valencia, Alicante, Spain, and online. I'm really happy to have you here with us. Also because I've always been curious about Feng Shui and how to implement it. I even purchased a course a while ago, but it didn't lead to much as the principles seemed quite complicated to put into practice. So I can say that I'm really happy to have you here because I know I will be learning a lot.
Thank you so much.
Can you maybe start by explaining in simple terms what Feng Shui is and the different schools of Feng Shui?
Yes, of course. So Feng Shui is very ancient. We don't actually even know how old it is, but it's at least 5,000 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. But you could even say that goes beyond that because it's actually exists everywhere in nature, and in pretty much almost every single culture has Feng Shui in its own way. The word Feng Shui literally means wind, water.
The two elements of wind and water. Interesting.
Yes, wind, water, and it comes from an ancient Chinese poem, which is a beautiful poem. And so what it's really about is about creating the best possible conditions for living, but not just living, for thriving. And when I said that it exists everywhere in nature, you could say that animals practice feng shui. If you consider when an animal is choosing its home, whether it's a hole in the ground or a nest in a tree, what are they doing? They're creating a home that's going to protect them from the elements and from predators so that they can procreate and make babies and so on, right? And not get killed by predators. So they are practicing their version of feng shui, right? Which is to find the best possible conditions for them to live and to thrive and to procreate. So that's really what it is, just on a human level. And what a feng shui practitioner is doing is adjusting the space according to your individualized needs, okay? Because everyone is different, and this relates to Chinese astrology, because a feng shui practitioner will look at your Chinese astrology and find out, and I'll talk about the elements later, but they'll find out your elemental makeup is, what, because there are 5 elements, and adjust it according to what you need. So it's adjusting to your individualized needs, but also the nature of the space itself, and also what the purpose of the space itself is. So, we could have feng shui for an office, which is going to be a bit different, than feng shui for a home, because they have different purposes, of course, right?
Yeah, I understand.
And all of it is to improve the flow of qi. Qi means energy, right? In Chinese.
Yeah.
It's pronounced ki in Japanese or gi in Korean, but it's all chi, and it's essentially energy, right?
Yeah.
And so what the result is that you feel better in your space, and the space works for you rather than against you.
So the space can actually work against you.
Yes. Yes. If you're in a space that does not have good feng shui or that has some negative energies in it, it's not working in your favor. So that's why I think, well, you might have a lot of struggle in your life or a lot of problems. It could very well be the feng shui in your home, in
Wow.
your space. Yeah. And so it's really about how we relate to our environment, really, when you put it all down to it. It's how we relate to our environment. And there are many different schools of feng shui. What it actually started off as was to choose, in ancient times, in ancient China, was to choose the best site for burial of the ancestors, because it's very important in Chinese culture, especially ancient Chinese culture, to honor the ancestors. So where they were buried was considered extremely important. So the original feng shui practitioners were using it to pick the best burial sites, and then it went from there into using it for people and studying landforms and all sorts of things like that. So it's not just like your own home, but looking at where your home is positioned in the land. Very common form of feng shui, and I think this is the one that you studied, is compass school feng shui. It's a very common form of feng shui, and that's the one that deals with the directions, and everything is based on the compass.
Yeah, it was exactly like that, and it was so difficult to actually put it into practice. I couldn't even understand what I was reading, the material I was going through, and imagine putting that into practice. So yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's not important, but what I studied was Black Sect Tantric Buddhism Feng Shui, which is the most modern version that was brought to the West by Professor Lin Yun, Grandmaster Lin Yun, who was a great master teacher. And what it does is it incorporates Tibetan Bön religion, which is the pre-Buddhist religion in Tibet. Black Sect Tantric Buddhism Feng Shui combines elements of the Bön along with Tibetan Buddhism, along with all these Chinese concepts, and it presents it in a way that I think is much more user-friendly, especially for people coming from the West. So it became very, very popular when it was introduced by Professor to the United States, and it just spread like wildfire from there. What I love about Black Sect Tantric Buddhism Feng Shui is it's, for me, the most spiritual.
Yeah.
So it's really about using the power of the mind and intentions. So it's working with energy on that subtle level. And for me, because I'm a shaman, this is the one that just spoke to me from the beginning.
Yeah, I understand.
And it's, I think, a lot easier to apply the concepts because it's not so strictly connected to the directions and so on. It's a little more intuitive, a lot more intuitive.
And then I think that would be more for me than actually following one by one these instructions that are given. Yeah, if it's more intuitive, probably it would be something I would resonate much more with.
Yes.
So what are the main principles of Black Sect Tantric Buddhism Feng Shui?
Well,
and how does it affect our lives?
Of course. So, well, with all feng shui, all forms of feng shui, the concept of the 5 elements is extremely important. So, all feng shui works with balancing the 5 elements, harmonizing the 5 elements. So, in different traditions, there are different elements. In Chinese, there is earth, there is water, there's fire, there's wood, and there's metal. And there's also yin and yang of each one, right? So you could be yin earth or yang earth, yin water, yang water, etc. So as it's always about making sure there isn't too much of one element. And each element is associated with color as well. So earth is associated with earthy colors and yellow. So like yellow, terracotta, brown, and so on. That would be
Mm-hmm.
the earth element. Water is associated actually with black or very dark blue. Fire is associated, of course, with red
Yeah.
and with like fiery oranges. Wood, of course, is associated with green, but also with purple. And metal is associated with white and gray, because there are two types of metal in Feng Shui. So, for example, if you've ever been into a house that's all white, that's
Mm-hmm.
very popular now, like modern houses,
Yeah.
ultra modern houses, you can go into them and everything is white. That is not good feng shui. It might look nice,
Yeah.
but it's actually really bad feng shui because it's too much metal.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much metal. So the person living in there could have problems, because especially if metal is not good for their personal chi, according to their own makeup, right, of elements. So a person who needs metal might feel good in an all white house for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
but even then it could just be too much, right? So color is really important. That's why red is a fire color, and wouldn't want to be sleeping in a bedroom where everything is red. You wouldn't sleep,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe you'd have hot sex, but
Yeah.
it could be a lot of passion, but it would be very difficult to sleep in an all red bedroom, or with a bedroom with too much red or too much fire element, red, orange.
What are the best colors for a bedroom, since we
Oh,
are on the subject?
okay. For a bedroom, actually, neutral colors,
Mm-hmm.
soft neutrals are best, restful colors.
Yeah.
Of course, it also depends on where the bed is located, or the bedroom is located, because the other thing that's really important with feng shui, and the thing that makes Black Sectantric Buddhism feng shui sort of stand out, is the way it uses the bagua. And
Mm-hmm.
the bagua is the map of a space. And the best way I can describe it is if you're imagining looking at a tic-tac-toe grid. You ever
Mm-hmm.
played tic-tac-toe?
Yeah.
And it's got the 9 squares, right? So what BTB, Black Sectantric Buddhism Feng Shui, does is orient the square according to the front door, looking into the space.
Okay.
So the front door will be either in the middle bottom, the left bottom, or the right bottom, right,
Mm-hmm.
of the floor plan. This is all about the floor plan,
Yeah.
right? So you would just have to figure out where your door is. Is it in the bottom right, bottom middle, or bottom left? And so each of the 9 squares represents a different area of your life. So starting at the bottom middle, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that represents your life path, your career,
Mm-hmm.
and that's associated with the element of water. Then going clockwise, the bottom left is representing your knowledge and your spirituality, and that
Mm-hmm.
is represented by the element of earth, but it's like strong earth. You can think of a mountain.
Yeah.
So the way I always think about this is, imagine when you think of like great wise gurus or whatever, they're always in the mountains praying and meditating. And the color for that is like a deep blue, or even like blue green. So like think of like the color of certain types of pine trees and
Mm-hmm.
mountain colors,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
And then going up from there, continuing clockwise, in the middle left, we have family and ancestors, and that is represented by the wood element.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two types of wood elements in feng shui. There's young wood and more mature wood. This one represents the younger wood, so thinking of springtime,
Mm-hmm.
and that energy of like when all the plants are growing up through the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pushing up through the earth. And they're a little bit more flexible because they're younger and greener, right?
Yeah.
So that's the energy that's associated with that. And the color is that green, that vibrant green color. Then the top left is the one that everybody's concerned about. That's your abundance, your wealth. Everybody wants to know, right? So that one is also wood, but that's the more mature wood. That's tree. So I always think of like an oak tree, a big sturdy tree. That could be enhanced with the color green, but it's also represented by the color purple. And if you can think about like purple and wealth are very closely associated, yeah? You know, royalty were the only ones who were allowed to wear purple, right?
True.
Right? Because it
To
was so
show wealth.
expensive. Exactly, because it was so expensive and so rare. So that's that one. Then the top middle is your fame, your reputation, how you are seen in the world. And that is the element associated with that is fire, and the color with that is red, or like red orange, you know, that kind of thing, which makes sense when you think about it, right? You need that spark to be famous. And then the top right hand side is romance, but not just romance, all relationships, and that one is associated with the mother. It's the most yin of the guas. Each of these areas is called a gua. So it's the most yin of them. And the color associated with that is like a soft pink, an earthy pink. The element with this is earth, but it's soft earth. Like think of like clay and, you know, very yin earth.
Yeah.
And so that's all relationships. And then moving down, continuing clockwise, middle right hand side, that is future, children, creativity, and that's represented by the element of metal. And so that's a good place in your home to have like a children's room or a play area or a place, a creative space, because it's the area that's all about creative projects and joy, the energy of joy and enthusiasm and all of that. And then the bottom right side is mentors, travel, particularly international travel, helpful people. So helpful people could be someone who just helps you briefly or someone who's giving you lots of help. And it also governs travel. And that one is also the element of metal. The color associated with that one is gray or black and white. Oh, with the children area, children, future creativity, that's white. This one is gray or black and white. And then in the middle, holding everything together, is, we call it the Tai Chi, right? And it's represented by the yin yang symbol right in the middle. And that's the area that holds everything together. And guess what that is? That is health.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? Which makes so much sense, right? Because it's connected to everything. And that is earth element as well. So there are three earth elements. This one is, it's not particularly soft, it's not particularly hard, it's kind of in the middle. And the color represented in that part of the bagua is yellow.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially. So the bagua is the map that we use. We place it over every floor plan and make adjustments according to the bagua. And the bagua can also be placed over individual rooms. So you could have the wealth corner of your home, but you can also have the wealth corner of a particular room.
Okay, I understand. Because it's a bit difficult to change the planimetry of a home, right? So I can't change where the room is.
Exactly.
But I can actually make changes inside the room.
Exactly.
So I can actually implement bagua in every room.
In every room. And also, you know, you don't have to be using the different guas, like, you know, it's wonderful to have a bedroom in the romance and relationships corner, but it doesn't have to be there. It's also very powerful to have a bedroom in the wealth corner. Okay? Because then you're sleeping in wealth.
Yeah.
But yes, you can adjust those spots in your home, and you can adjust them in the room itself.
Where can someone find the bagua?
Oh, it's very easy to find baguas. You can just look online. You'll find a huge variety of them.
Okay, could you make this available for the people listening to this episode?
Yeah, I could give you guys one of ones that I used in my course.
Perfect.
My Feng Shui course. So the bagua is really important. I mean, it's kind of everything, right? So you've got the bagua, and you can see how the elements work in there. So the two together, the basic tools of a Feng Shui practitioner. They come in and they look at how your home is oriented and so on. All of that is really important. And the front door is very, very important because that is considered the mouth of qi. So that's how the chi enters the home.
But you can't really move the front door,
No,
right?
well, you could, but you don't have to. But what's really important is to make sure it's used. Some people will use their garage door to enter a home
Oh,
or a side door or something. That you should really use the front door. At least open it and walk through it once a day. You want to keep the energy moving and making sure people can see it, like it's not hidden. 'Cause that could be a problem because when you can't see your front door easily, that means opportunities might be passing you by. And with a lot
wow.
of modern construction, it's hard to see the front door. It's like it's
Yeah.
hidden, and then people wonder why they can't find a job.
Wow, this was powerful.
It is. It really is.
As you mentioned, a lot of changes that we
Mhm.
can actually do in our life, but maybe you can pinpoint some of them, some
Sure,
easy changes we can make in our home
definitely.
according to these principles.
Absolutely. So, the number one thing I would say for everybody is to declutter.
How
Um,
do we do that? So, what we don't need, just give it away.
exactly. What you don't need, what you don't love. What was that, Marie Kondo?
Yeah.
You're right. If it
Yeah.
sparks joy. I mean, yeah, the thing is, I've never walked into a home that had a lot of clutter and felt good. The whole purpose of feng shui is to keep the chi circulating and moving,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that it's not stagnant. When there's too much stuff in a space, blocks the flow of chi and it stagnates the energy. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll notice that people who have a lot of clutter will tend to feel very stuck in their lives. If it's a big project, you don't have to declutter your entire house in one go. You could pick one room or one closet. It's hard to get started, but once
Mm-hmm.
you start doing it, you'll find it can be quite addictive because the energy starts moving, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I can resonate with that. Yes.
Right? So it will give you a boost of energy and you'll get motivated to keep going.
Yeah.
So it's the getting started that's hard. So if you like need to recruit a friend or a relative to help you with that, fine. Like I wouldn't hang on to like old love letters from ex-boyfriends.
Okay, so just throw them away.
Yeah, get rid of them, say thank you, goodbye, have a
Yeah.
bonfire or like old financial documents that you don't need anymore
Mm-hmm.
or old bills or things that bring unpleasant memories. Why would you want to have that there? So
Is it
um
like making space for the new to
yeah,
enter?
absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
understand.
It's letting go of the old to make space for the new. Absolutely. So that's, I would say, maybe the number one thing that you don't need to study for. It's anybody can do this with a little bit of motivation.
Yeah.
So I would say that. The other thing, I did mention this before, bedroom, painting the bedroom in a soft neutral colors. Pinkish beige might be nice,
Mm-hmm.
right? Warm earth colors, but soothing, not too cold, not too warm, something nice and neutral. And to avoid electronics in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like some people, they work from home. Their desk sometimes has no other spot, so they have to put it in their bedroom. So you want to try to maybe put some kind of a screen there. You want to avoid having the EMFs from the
Yeah.
electronics. So like televisions, computers, and so on are best kept out of the bedroom if at all possible. And then if they have to be there, unplugging them or
Mm-hmm.
also covering them so you don't see them. So there's a separation between like work and rest, right?
Okay, yeah, I understand.
So the bedroom is super important because that's where you spend so much time. And then another simple thing could be having plants in the house, particularly in the areas where the wood element is
Mm-hmm.
dominant, right? So that upper right corner, the wealth area, that's a good place to put plants. So those are some simple,
How
easy
about
things.
flowers? Is it good or bad to have not plants, so not planted flowers?
Fresh flowers do bring in a nice vital energy into a space. Traditionally, they're not recommended in the bedroom, but rather in like the dining room or the living room or something. They don't recommend plants in the bedroom, with some exceptions. Like an orchid can represent romance, so having a beautiful, thriving orchid plant in the bedroom is okay. But no, it's actually nice to have flowers in the
Okay.
house. Yeah. Or another thing you could have is a bowl of oranges, fresh oranges.
Really?
Yes. Oranges are very important in feng shui. The scent of them is very invigorating and uplifting. And so they represent abundance and good health and good luck. So having a bowl of 9, especially 9
9
oranges,
oranges. Okay.
like on the center of the dining table or when you walk into the house or something, is very nice.
Okay, so it's for luck and abundance.
Luck, abundance, health, everything. Yeah. Just to
I'm
uplift you.
definitely applying this. This is an
Yeah,
easy one to apply. So as soon as you eat one, then you just buy another one, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you don't like 9, you can do 8. You could do 8. You could do 5 as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So those would be some of the easy changes you can make in your life. And they're super easy. I mean, come on, anybody can
Yeah.
do those things.
Yeah, they are pretty easy.
Yeah,
So these are changes you can make in your home.
in
Is
your
there
home.
anything in our life
In your life.
that we
Yes.
can change?
Yeah, because, feng shui extends into all areas, right, of our
Mm-hmm.
lives. You can feng shui your car. You can feng shui your
Really?
desk. Yes. You just put the bagua on the car. You could feng shui your desk. When I used to be the academic director of a school, I had my desk all feng shuied. I had a purple dragon and some amethyst crystals in my wealth corner. I had a candle in the fame and reputation.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I had like 2 hearts in the relationships corner. Yeah, so I feng shuied my desk. But other than that, well, the color red is really important in Chinese culture. For example, they wear red at weddings. It symbolizes good luck. So wearing red in some way is a great thing to do. That's why on Chinese New Year, you'll see so much red, and people will wear like new red underwear on Chinese New Year.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Now that you're mentioning that, I remember practicing this maybe 20 years ago, wearing red underwear on New Year's.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Wow.
it's actually something in a lot of different cultures. Even here in Spain, they do that. But there's also a different New Year's in the Chinese culture, right? It's the
Yeah.
Lunar New
Hmm.
Year, which is the first new moon in the calendar year. So wearing red or a talisman with a red string or something is good luck. Another thing you can do in your life is to spend time in nature, because feng shui really is about our connection with the world around us, right? So keeping us connected to the elements in nature is extremely good for all aspects of our lives. So spending some time in nature and connecting with it. And I would also recommend the practice of qigong.
Hmm.
What that does is it helps to balance the yin and yang within your energy body, your physical body, and your energy body. So it's almost like inner feng shui, right?
Yeah.
You could say. So I think it's very powerful. And Qigong and Tai Chi are similar, but they're not the same. Tai Chi came from Qigong. Qigong is the original practice. And then another very simple change you could make in your life is to organize your wallet.
Mm.
Make sure your wallet isn't stuffed with old receipts, and that you have the bills organized and smooth, and treating your money with respect.
Yeah.
And
What
keeping,
about the ones that don't have any more cash? In Norway, we practice very little cash.
well, I would always have some cash in the wallet.
Really?
Symbolically, it's important. This whole cashless society thing, I'm not in favor of personally. I think it disconnects us from our money.
Oh, that's nice to know.
Because we're not handling it, we're not making that physical connection with it. So having like some physical representation of money around you is really important.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
wallet with some money in it.
With some
I
cash.
will put that into practice as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important, especially these days with all these this digital currency stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's convenient, but I think it's separating us too much from the energy of money.
True.
Yeah. And meditation, because that
Mm.
helps keep your mind uncluttered, right?
Yeah, it's uncluttering everything in your life, not just your home.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can it go as further as a relationship that is not working, letting it go? It's uncluttering, right?
Sure. Yes. That's a great example. Yeah, clutter doesn't have to be objects. It could be people too. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Or people, like it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It
No,
can be anyone in your life that brings you down, that doesn't,
exactly.
yeah,
It could be a job. Sometimes you have to
yeah,
let a job go if it's just not, bringing you what it should be bringing you. Clutter, I think, can be interpreted in a lot of different ways, right? Mental, physical, and also, yeah, relational. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. What are some more advanced changes that we can eventually implement in our life?
I am a huge believer and proponent of energetic space clearing, which is
Mm-hmm.
not the same as decluttering. Okay. A lot of people
Yeah,
get them confused. A lot of times, when you clear the energy of a space, a lot of the feng shui problems sort of resolve themselves. It's kind of amazing. So, what I mean by a space clearing is you hire a professional to come in to do a thorough space clearing. That they burn all these different things and they chant things and they use secret methods and so on. It's very shamanic because there could be negative entities in a space. There
of
could be
course.
vortexes that are draining. There could be all kinds of like sinkholes and things like that energetically in a space. There's also just stuck old energy that's been there, like especially where I am in Spain, these houses are hundreds of years old. So of course it's got layers upon layers of thick stuck energy from all
Yeah,
these, people who have lived there before. So what an energetic space clearing does is it removes all of that, gets all of that out of the way, and literally the place, I'm not joking, looks brighter, like the lights function better.
mm,
It turned the wattage up on the light bulbs. It's shocking. And it feels lighter, it feels more joyful. I have never done a space clearing where the people didn't actually notice it, even people who don't believe in this stuff.
yeah.
I did it for a couple, and her husband was like, yeah, whatever. And then afterward, he's like, whoa, he goes, the lights are brighter. I'm like, mm hmm.
Wow. Can you do this online as well, or does it have to be on in
It's
person?
better in person,
It's better
but
in person. Okay.
but I have recently done one for the first time online with a
Mm-hmm.
client in another country, in Belgium, and I guided her through it. So she was doing it with my supervision and support and so on, and I think it was pretty powerful. So
Okay.
it is possible to do it online, but it's different. I mean, I'm not going to say
Mm.
it's the same thing because when I do it, I go through people's cabinets and every drawer and everything. I'm very thorough. But I think a space clearing can make such a huge difference. I had this apartment in Queens, New York, that my sister-in-law had lived in. Before she married my brother. There was a burner on the stove that didn't work. I think it was the top right one, relationships.
Wow.
Yeah. And she was like, "Yeah, you should call the super to get it fixed, right?" And then I did this my first space clearing in my apartment. And I came home, turned on the light the next day when I went out to work and whatever. And turned on the light, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh my God, shocking." It looked like the lights had suddenly, as I said, gotten much brighter and everything looked literally sparkling. And the burner on the stove fixed itself. Like it was working.
That's amazing.
And that's not the first time this has happened. I've done this for clients and they've had appliances fixed that had been broken fix themselves. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was all energetical.
It was all energetic. Yeah. Every time I would move into a new home, I would have a friend of mine who's a feng shui practitioner come and do a space clearing for me.
You wouldn't do it on yourself.
No, because, you know, we pick our houses and our houses pick us, and we
Yeah,
have blind spots.
definitely. Okay.
So bringing in a third party who doesn't have anything, invested in it right? Who could be neutral and objective because they'll see the blind spots that we don't see, right? So
Yeah.
it's really good to, I think, have somebody do that. So that's one thing. The other, it's advanced, but it's also very important, is the command position.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No, but yeah,
It,
I would like to know more about it.
it's really, really important. So the command position means that where you sit or sleep, you have a support behind your back. So like a wall, a solid wall. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have enough room on either side of you so that you could like stretch your arms out and that you can see the door clearly, but you're not in line with the door. And the example that a lot of people give, I think is funny, but it's true, is like the mafia, right? You never see like the Godfather in the mafia sitting with his back to the door.
Yeah.
He's always sitting in the corner in the back where he can see everybody who comes into the space, but he's not right in line at the door because somebody could come in at the door and shoot him.
Yeah.
It's the power spot in the room. Um, these big executives, big CEOs, they're usually sitting in the command position. So you don't want to be in the direct line with the door because then the energy that's coming in through the door, the chi, is coming right at you and you're a sitting target.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want that. But you want to be able to see very clearly anyone coming in through the door because if you can't see them, you're not in control. Anybody could sneak up behind you. And psychologically, this will affect you because subconsciously you're not going to feel in control. You hear a noise and you have to look over your shoulder. What's that?
Yeah.
So it's really important to have your back supported, not with like a window, but with like a solid wall, something solid behind you, and to be able to see the door clearly. And this is this place where you should sleep and work. Whenever I'm sitting down to have a meal, I always sit in the command position.
Mm.
Same thing in restaurants. I just automatically will head for the seat that's in the command position. And you'll notice most people want that seat, whether they realize it or not.
It's unconscious, but it's the energy that attracts them.
Exactly. You don't feel comfortable with your back to the door. So a lot of people will like put their office desks, right, looking out a window because they want to see the view. That's not a good
Mm-hmm.
idea because number one, you can be distracted by looking out the window, unless you're an artist.
Yeah.
I did a consultation for an artist once. That was different because she needed the light and the inspiration. So I just had her put a mirror so that she could see anyone coming in through the
Mm-hmm.
door. Okay. But it's really important to be able to see the front door. So the command position is it's essential and it could be applied to everything. Yeah. So moving your bed, moving your desk, and so on, so that it's in the command position is basic but super important and a little bit advanced because you have to know exactly where to put it.
Yeah. So maybe it's better if Feng Shui
Yeah,
practitioner actually helps you with that.
it's always better, I think.
Of course.
Related to that is in the kitchen when you're cooking, when you're standing at the stove, if your back is to the door or if you can't see the door, that's not considered good. The stove is very, very important in feng shui. It represents wealth and it's considered sort of the heart of the home. So keeping the stove clean is and not storing things in it is important, making sure everything
Mm-hmm.
works, but also making sure that when you're cooking, your back isn't to the door. Now, sometimes that can't be helped. So
Yeah.
the standard remedy for that is to mirror the back of the stove so that you can see behind you. Okay. With a solid mirror,
Mm-hmm.
not broken up mirrors. Broken up
Yeah.
mirrors are not good. You want to be able to see. And hanging a wind chime over your head.
Wind shine.
A wind chime over your head. Yep. Not,
Okay.
yeah, not like so it's on top of your head, but like
Yeah.
high up enough so that, your head's not going to be hitting it. What that will do is dispel any energy that's coming at you, and it's better for the cook. That's only if your back is to the door,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you cook.
Because while you speak, I'm also thinking about what changes I can make in my
Mm-hmm.
home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting, I think. How can people heal through the power of Feng Shui?
Well, if you think about it, when your home is energetically healthy, right? Which is what Feng Shui is trying to do, right? Is to make your home energetically healthy. You're going to benefit in all ways, including with your health. I find that places with good Feng Shui, generally the inhabitants, unless it's their karma to get sick or whatever, or something that they need to experience in this lifetime, people are likely to have better health. And this includes through space clearing as well, okay?
Because it's part of Feng Shui, so.
Exactly. Keeping your home with good circulation of qi includes having fresh air in the home. So, opening the windows, the doors, like at least once a day to bring in fresh air, even in winter. I mean, if it's really bitter cold, that's harder, but it's nice to have a little bit of that every day in the home just to keep the air fresh and clean. So the air quality is really, really important. Okay, so that will affect one's health. And another thing that is to avoid having things hanging over your head like a beam, wooden beams and stuff. I know they're very popular, they can look very beautiful, but they're not advised at all, especially the lower they are, and especially when you sleep. Very important not to have anything hanging over your head when you sleep. Okay, or if you sleep under sloping ceiling, that could cause health problems. So making sure that the area above your head when you sleep is open and clear with nothing hanging down. Like there's some, like I've seen like bookcases and bookshelves over people's heads when they sleep, and all I think of is it falling down. And
So you mean that those kind of cupboards that are made in such a way that they go all around the bed, including the head, they are not really recommended?
No, because they're not allowing the chi to circulate around you, and it's oppressive. It can be very oppressive energy. So yeah, that's why I don't particularly like low ceilings. I find them very, very oppressive. So that it will affect your health, right? Yeah, and making sure everything in the house works, not having broken things.
Yeah, makes sense. Actually, a friend of mine who is somehow a practitioner, the first thing she realized when she came into my home was, oh my God, your lamp is broken and it's exactly in the bedroom that you have to get rid of. And I kind of disregarded it for a while. So what she did is that she got me a lamp, actually. She just brought it to me and her husband fixed it for me so that I wouldn't have that broken lamp, especially in the bedroom. So
exactly, it's true, and that includes like changing light bulbs that have burned out, or sometimes it's just a minor thing you have to repair. But if it's something's really old and broken, get rid of it. Because number one, it's clutter, and number two, broken things are not good for your health. Yeah. And I would say again, working with your inner feng shui through connecting with nature, qigong, exercise, all of that, eating foods full of vitality, and also eating at a table, sitting down and eating at a table. Number one, reinforces your abundance. So sitting down at a properly laid table, giving yourself nourishing food, you cooked in your home at your stove that works beautifully, right? And nourishing yourself with food that's balanced and comes from nature. All of these things. This is very good for your health, because instead of people sitting in front of the television while not being mindful when they eat, right? So it's about gathering with your family, or if you live alone, being alone with yourself and enjoying it, and honoring that time, honoring your meal time. It's very important for your health, but it's also important for your abundance. Yeah.
Wow, eating at the table and enjoying it, it's important for your abundance.
Yeah, I believe that. Because it's also, you're treating yourself properly. You're treating yourself lovingly. So it makes me sad when I see people, especially single people, they think that if they're eating by themselves, that they could just like grab something quick and microwave it and sit in front of the television and eat it without paying attention.
God. Yeah, guilty as charged. Actually, I do that because of lack of time sometimes.
Once in a while, it's fine. But if that's your normal way of eating, no, it's not good for your health. So the importance of really honoring meal times and making them sacred, because they are sacred.
They're sacred.
It's a sacred experience, to consume food and honoring your body and all of its wonderful functions within you, how it processes the food and digests the food. It's a sacred moment. So honoring that is good for your health in all ways, physical, mental, emotional health, right?
But I was wondering about something. Do you actually clean, like you cooked your meal, do you eat it immediately and then clean up? Or do you clean up first so that things are not cluttered and then you eat?
Bit of both. As I'm cooking, I like to clean up while I'm cooking. If I'm going to cook something, I have like everything chopped and ready, all my ingredients. I prepare my ingredients and I put them in little bowls, right? And then I wash the cutting board and the knife and everything. So I just have my bowls. And so as I'm adding things in, if I have a moment to wash the things, I do that. And then I serve myself, and I don't wash the cooking pots until after the meal.
Okay.
Yeah. But I try to wash as much of the preparation things as possible while I'm cooking, so that
it's not super cluttered.
Yeah, so it's not overwhelming. Yeah. But I think it's nice to have a pot of food on the stove too, because that also can represent abundance.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So if you're making more than enough for one meal, you have that pot on the stove for a little while. It's like you can think about that as representing abundance, really, because you have an abundance of food, and there's this pot of beautiful food that's been cooked that you can take from, you can replenish your bowl if you want to, replenish your dish if you want to. But very important to make sure you clean the stove thoroughly when you're done. But keep like the burners clean, wipe down the stove after each use. There's always grease or something on it. And then, I don't know, there in New York, a lot of people don't cook, and they'll use their oven as storage because there's not a lot of storage. So they'll keep like all their pots and pans and whatever in the oven. That's not a great idea either. That's clutter. So you want to keep oven and the stove ready to be used at any time. So keeping it in good working order and clean, because the stove also is representative of not just abundance, but also health. So the stove and the bed.
Yeah.
The stove and the bed are like the two most important things.
Good.
Front door, the stove, and the bed.
Front door, stove, and bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can someone learn more about Feng Shui?
Well, one thing they could do is to sign up for this wonderful digital course that I did with my amazing friend Greta, Coach Greta. It's called Feng Shui Your Life, and it's a 9-hour 3-part course that we put together where we focused on 3 areas: the relationships, the finances, and health. And I explain all of these things and in great detail, giving lots of tips and remedies with Feng Shui. And I also explain in a lot more detail about the Bagua and the elements and so on. And in addition, Greta does some energy clearing and goal setting around each of those areas. The Feng Shui Your Life course is $180, but for a limited time, we're selling it for only $79 for
Okay, that's not too bad. That's pretty cheap. $79. It's like, I don't know, 800 kroners.
And it's, a very unique course because it's not just doing feng shui, but it's combining it with some energy healing as well, and meditation and goal setting. So you're really getting a lot of very special content for an incredible price.
Yeah, so you don't feng shui just your home. You feng shui actually your energy, your life.
Exactly. So I highly recommend this course. I had a really great time creating it with Greta, and she and I made a great team, and everyone who took it said they just found it so amazing and helpful.
Where can they find it?
We can give you the link.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yes. So that people can find it in the notes of the podcast.
Exactly. And if people would like to get in touch with me.
Yes, that was my last question, actually. How can people find you?
My website is Anna, ANNA, -Pavlakis, Pavlakis dot Weebly site, WELYSITE.com. I also am on Facebook, Anna Pavlakis. I have a page on Facebook, Integrated Soul Healing. I also have a Facebook group that you are more than welcome to join. It's a public group. It's called Following Your Soul Path. And I also have a YouTube channel called Integrated Soul Healing. And you can also find me on Instagram, Anna Pavlakis.
So in all possible online places.
Yes, also LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn
Also LinkedIn.
too. Yes.
Yes.
So I'm really easy to find, I think.
So one could eventually book you for a session
Absolutely.
or for a course or okay.
Due to the wonders of the internet, I do Feng Shui consultations online with floor plans and so on and photos. It is possible to do Feng Shui online. I've done it with people in Norway.
Oh, wow.
And, to great success. I've never been to Norway, but I've managed to do it with people in Norway and Belgium. And it's a lot of fun to do that online. So I don't have to go into your space to do that. And I can also support people with space clearing, long distance if they would like that. And I also do shamanic healing with my modality, integrated soul healing. It's my own channeled modality where I help people to align their energy, their current energy, with where their soul would like them to be. So it's all about bringing you into a new framework that's as close as possible to getting you solidly on your soul path where you're meant to be going in this lifetime.
This was great. I'm so happy that I've had you here. I personally learned a lot, got a lot of tips, and I'm already thinking about changes I can make at home.
This has been so wonderful. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every minute. I love talking about this stuff, and so always happy to share this beautiful knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
You're so welcome.
Now it's your turn. Let me know what health and abundance subjects you want me to cover in the future. Do that by commenting on the post on Instagram. If you want to book a free healing and coaching consultation with me, or if you want to be a guest on my podcast, feel free to contact me. You can find my contact information on my website, adakomani.no. Thank you for listening, and thank you so much to Anna for being here with us today. If you liked it, please leave a review at podchaser.com. Just search for the podcast and write a good review. If you have questions, please do let me know on Instagram. In the next episode, we'll be talking about healing with healthy habits. And remember, you are always creating your health and abundance. What do you choose to create today?